Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Fast Pitch. My name is Matt Pfeiffer. I'm the founder and CEO of Supplier Community, and it is a beautiful day in Northwest Arkansas, 70 degrees, and not a cloud in the sky. We're so excited this afternoon to welcome our friends from Beekeeper Marketing, hear all about their capabilities. I want to welcome Amber and Sandy from Beekeeper Marketing. They're going to be spending 30 minutes this afternoon talking to us about their organization, its capabilities.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the introduction, Matt. Hi, everyone. My name is Sandy Russo. I am the Supply Chain Director for Beekeeper Marketing. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have with me my cohort, Amber. She's also on my team. We work for the larger Advantage network, so that's why we have our Advantage logo in the background, and we have an umbrella of services under there as well. So today we're going to focus on our supply chain capabilities. One of the main reasons we wanted to set up this call is that when you see Beekeeper Marketing, you don't immediately think supply chain, right? So we're trying to get the word out about this amazing team that we have and some of the great results that we've had helping folks out to excel on Amazon and beyond. So with that, I will jump right into it. This is our opening slide. I like to try and keep things a little bit lighthearted. This is obviously pre-COVID, so we were actually allowed to see each other, and this was at our last offsite. We're a pretty fun group, but I thought the helmets might be a key to point out here because it can be dangerous trying to deal with all of these supply chain issues that go on in e-commerce. So a little bit of levity there as we kick off. So where can we help? So as most of you probably know, every step in the order to cash process with Amazon must be executed within guidelines to avoid fines and payment delays. What our team does is we help guide and advise you throughout that process on how to work within those guidelines to protect your profitability and improve your overall performance. What I love so much about this slide specifically is that it really demonstrates the amount of responsibility that's on the vendor, right? So each step listed here below and the little dollar signs representing the subsequent chargebacks associated with that step, those are all things that the vendor controls. You do have a ton of responsibility as a vendor. They do expect a lot from you as a vendor, and it also can have a really huge impact on profitability. We know that Amazon can be one of the more challenging retailers in terms of profitability. So we want to give you the opportunity to take back what you can control within your network and kind of lessen the burden from a profitability perspective, and also have your operations running smoothly and having your day-to-day be less hectic overall. So then we jump into why do chargebacks matter? We are all probably very well versed, and one of the reasons you're probably on this call is the charges that you're seeing month over month. And sometimes those charges start off small, and then all of a sudden you are scaling rapidly for one reason or another. One that we've seen most recently, obviously, is the pandemic. As more folks shift to e-commerce, lots of people saw rapid growth with this retailer, and as such, those chargebacks and fines scaled with that growth. So what wasn't necessarily too much of an issue before is becoming a bigger issue now. The reason we appreciate that is that helps us engage with clients in understanding why it's so important. Another thing that helps us explain why it's so important are these soft costs that you see in the circle on the right. We're all very well versed with these hard costs, right? You have the fees, the actual fees that you're incurring that are bringing down your profitability. There's a number of finance hours used to dispute and reconcile shortages, admin hours to research and dispute chargebacks, to resolve and-on cords, and then the unpredictable ordering that can occur on Amazon could lead you to even need additional safety stock, right? So all things that aren't great, all things that don't look great for your bottom line. What we don't often talk about, what we try to reiterate to our clients is that there are all these soft costs on the right that have a huge impact as well. And you really have to take into account both sides to understand the full financial impact of your supply chain performance with Amazon or any retailer for that matter. So a few things that I will call out here: decreased in-stock rates. If you are shipping an item that requires some sort of preparation, maybe it's bagging, taping, bubble wrapping, that item can get delayed at a prep station for up to 72 hours. So as we all know, if this is a high volume item, 72 hours is a lifetime to be out of stock, right? So what solutions do we have for that? How do we get this moving through the system faster? Is there an opportunity for us to prep upstream and kind of mitigate that downstream delay? You will also see things like add-on cords, right? And when this occurs, it can bring down your buy box and then force sales to one of the 3P partners that you may not have any control over, right? So then they're now dictating your consumer's experience with your product, which is not always good. And then going back to the increased item leveling, ordering variability, what we try to do is understand that each message that you send to Amazon along the order to cash process helps feed the ordering algorithm, right? So when we're teaching you how to send those messages accurately and in a timely fashion, what we're doing is giving that ordering algorithm the information it needs to plan out more appropriately, and then hopefully see less of those dramatic ups and downs in your ordering process and the orders that you're getting week over week. And brand image is a huge thing. A lot of our partners invest a ton in their brand image, and we want to protect that brand image. And so we really want to control the shipping experience for our clients and consumers. And we want to avoid things like unattractive product preparation, taping, and so on and so forth, reiterating kind of the necessity to at least look at prep as an opportunity to take more control over your business and also decrease the financial impact of those chargebacks. And then a topic that's very hot, especially right now, as we're seeing a huge surge in shortage claims, delayed payment, right? So delayed payment in terms of shortage claims and provisions for receivables, and how we help there in terms of shortage claims is trying to identify root cause issues upstream in your process that will then lead to less shortage claim occurrence over time. And then with provisions for receivables, the less you are incurring from a chargeback or shortage claim perspective, that's going to help close that gap for provisions for receivables and either reduce it or negate it altogether in some cases. So now that we've kind of talked through what they are and why they matter, what can we do? This is our service offerings menu. We tailor our services to tackle each of Amazon's infraction categories in terms of chargeback mitigation and overall performance improvement. We like to kind of tackle things from both ends, right? So if we're improving your process on the high end and we're also disputing any invalid claims on the back end, we can kind of meet in the middle there and give you the best of both worlds. Typically where we like for folks to start is, with the upper left-hand corner here, which is a supply chain evaluation. This is a comprehensive e-commerce supply chain audit that identifies root cause. It's end-to-end. We take each step in the order to cash process, tie it back to your chargebacks as indicators of where there could be process improvements needed, and then give you short and long-term recommendations on how to be best in class, right? The reason I say short and long-term is that there may be a situation where you're not ready to go to best in class right now. Perhaps you don't have the technological capabilities or the volume's not large enough to really have the support to make large changes. But this will be giving you the roadmap of where you should be looking moving forward. So some other areas that we've done a lot of work in: product preparation, SIOC, very similar there, have to do with packaging. Labeling is huge for us. We focus a ton on that. We'll talk about that in one of our case studies here in a moment. Labeling is huge. Making labeling improvements, and this is one of the reasons why we spend so much time on it, is that labeling really goes beyond Amazon, right? So most of our retailers are using very similar technology in how they receive product. And so if we can get you in a very clean SOP for printer maintenance and label placement and void space, right? All of those things, that's going to have an impact far beyond just Amazon. And you're going to see that throughout your organization. Other work that we do, data flow analysis, helping out with EDI, monitoring EDI alerts, trying to help you decipher what those alerts mean and how to comply in the future. Obviously, shortage claims. We do shortage project work. We have clients that completely have us monitor all of their disputing and take care of that for them solely. In other cases, they want us to do an analysis over 3 to 6 months and then come back to them with the best practice. In these scenarios, we really focus on how to give you the most bang for your buck in terms of time investment versus dollars recovered, and then also an understanding of what's driving your shortage claims. So one thing I will call out about shortage claims is a shortage claim project will help you in the short term in recovering dollars, but you really need to be tackling it from both sides to see the full improvement. So we need to be figuring out what's happening upstream to have you incur shortage claims so that we can hopefully stop the flow of them in the future. I will say that all clients have some shortage claims, right? But we just want to make sure that it's manageable and taking up as little bit of your time as possible. And then last but not least, made to order. So we've had many clients come to us, and if your challenge isn't listed on here, we can more than likely combine our expertise to figure out how to meet the challenge. Our team does the best work when we're engaged with you in a way that makes sense and in a way that it's going to provide the most value for you. There's no point, in us providing you a service where you're not ready to make that step. And so we're very big on us on aligning on expectations and making sure we're engaging with you exactly with how it fits your needs today and what you're looking for tomorrow. So how do we offer that support? We do have full service supply chain clients. Those clients offload their supply chain work to us in its entirety, and they get all of the services listed below the full service bar on this slide. We also have our made to order clients, right? Where they're just looking for best practices and training, or they're just looking for evaluation and root cause identification. So we have tailored our service model so that we can fit the needs of all levels of supply chain maturity. This is demonstrated by the fact that we work with vendors that are brand new to Amazon to those that have been on Amazon for years and are still just looking for that extra support and fine tuning. And the other thing I'll mention is that best practice changes, right? E-commerce is a constantly evolving entity. And what's great about my team is that we stay on top of all of those changes and we can make sure you stay best in class. So that would be something when you're looking at something like ongoing support, where we can monitor and report to ensure you're staying in that steady state of expected supply chain health. We can call out potential threats before they really become a problem. We can challenge erroneous fees to make sure that there's the least impact on you financially. Evaluation and root cause identification would speak back to that supply chain audit that we were talking about, where we kind of take every step and link it in with your key stakeholders and kind of address each person and how they fit into that mold. That's great for bringing teams together. Essentially, lots of times those are siloed activities and one person doesn't understand how what they do affects anyone downstream. And I think what we really excel at is bringing those teams together so that they understand those pieces and they know how to pivot when kind of things go wrong. And that's probably more important than anything else, is just knowing what to do when it doesn't go how it should. Again, focusing on best practices and training. In some cases, our clients have a really robust team, but they just need the training to be set up for success. And we're more than willing to do that. We really ensure that we're demonstrating exactly what the process should look like, setting them up for those challenges we were talking about. That could be processing orders, it could be ASN management, it could be managing carriers and transportation, any of those things, but just having a process behind that they can feel good about and confident in their results. And then last but not least would be optimization and execution. So these are kind of your more large scale projects. These are clients that are really highly invested in e-commerce and poised for that growth there. And they're looking for the next step beyond. They're not just looking to challenge, to overcome an Amazon challenge, but how do we become best in class on e-commerce overall? You're looking at big, huge supply chain overhauls where you're potentially moving prep upstream, right? So bagging things, unique packaging, getting items certified so that they know they're going to arrive to their consumer in the way they want them to. Labeling SOPs and creations. This can be really useful for folks that are utilizing a lot of co-packers, right? So a lot of times you don't have consistent labeling across the board, but we can come up with a comprehensive plan on how to address your entire supply chain. and data flow audit and overhaul. So those folks that maybe haven't done EDI before, but that are looking to implement it and want someone by their side to kind of walk them through that. So yeah, just reiterating that wherever you are in your journey, one of these supports will typically fit the mold for you and be able to help you out in the long term. So these are my favorite slides. I feel like I've talked a ton about what we do, but really let's talk about what's the impact, right? That's what really matters. This is a great slide. It's one of my favorites. It is a client that was receiving chargebacks at roughly 3 to 4% of shipped COGS. We do benchmark chargeback performance as a percent of shipped COGS as a way to level set it for folks, right? So we're not always talking to operations people. They may not even really understand chargebacks, but if we're talking about 3 to 4% of margin, it tends to kind of make more sense as to why this is important and why we should tackle it. So obviously this was resulting in decreased profitability for them and in-stock rates, and they were just having a huge administrative burden and financial reconciliation costs. We did complete a root cause supply chain evaluation for them. And in that case, we identified 3 main issues. I'd say these are probably the 3 issues I see the most, with the exception of no carton content. That would be right up there as well. So PO on-time accuracy. This was a situation where they needed some training and monitoring, right? So we put them in with a good process, and then we monitored that process for a while and called out when mistakes were made so that we could use that as a teaching opportunity to say, you've got 90% of this right, we just need to get over this last hurdle. And you can see the dramatic impact that had as soon as that took effect. So you see that drop in chargebacks by roughly 85%. With ASN accuracy, we did a complete data flow audit. There were some few minor changes that need to be made to their ASN transmissions. And then we did a very specific training on accurate ASN submission processes, timing, and we had to do this at multiple locations, right? Because they were fulfilling from multiple warehouses. So just making sure we're covering our bases end to end. So the folks that do this day in and day out know what they need to do to be successful. We're big proponents that, no one's intentionally trying to incur these fees, but more often than not, they just don't know what the right answer is. And a lot of times, we've worked with clients that have tried 2 or 3 different things, and they're seeing their results and they're just frustrated and they don't know what else to do. And that's kind of where we come into play. So ASN accuracy is a little bit different because it takes some time to see the results, and you see that decline, but there was a 46% decline there as well. Product preparation, we recommended items for the client to move in-house based on their volume, which they did do. In this situation, we were able to recover $30,000 for them in erroneous fines where items were flagged for prep inappropriately. And also, even more importantly, we were able to save them over $300,000 in chargebacks due to cost avoidance. They were able to do the prep in-house by roughly half of what Amazon charges for these fees. So what's important about this is Amazon charges those fees for a reason. They don't want to do the prep. They want you to do the prep, right? So we're going to continue to see those fines increase. And so it's more and more important that our clients start looking at prep as a real challenge to have a solution in the short term. The overall results were that we reduced their chargebacks by half. And the 2% that's still remaining are all known issues. They have a technological issue they need to deal with on their ASNs, and they have a number of items that are still getting prepped, but don't have large enough volume to do it in-house. So what's great about this is, yes, they're still incurring 2%, but they know exactly the path forward to getting that under 1%, which is typically what we aim for. I've taken up a lot of our time, but I'm now going to let Amber kick off the next few case studies and kind of go through how this might fit for your organization.
Yeah, so this is some labeling work that we did for a few clients. And I just want to reiterate Sandy's point. Labeling is kind of my jam, so I like to talk about labels. But it's also sort of one of the highest chargebacks that you'll see from Amazon. It's $5 per carton if you have any issues with your labels. You can hemorrhage those fines really quickly, and that will kill your profitability. So Amazon's got that high of a fine on labeling chargebacks because it's really important to their efficient receive process to be able to scan your label, know exactly what's in the box, and receive it with the least amount of human interaction as possible. So we really focus on labeling. And these were 3 clients that we kind of went down what we call the labeling rabbit hole, and had some really great results. So this first client, their carton content labels. So Amazon requires SSCC carton content labels. This was really, really easy fixes, right? So they increased the size of their barcode, and then they put together an ongoing printer maintenance SOP to address white streaking that was going on through their barcodes. And so you can see there the huge decrease with those super simple fixes in their labeling chargebacks. The second client here was a little bit more complicated. We increased the size of their master case to accommodate that 4x6 label. And you can see that their chargebacks reduced by 100%. So they went from $18,000 a month in labeling fines to 0. And then this last client, they're using their GTINs. They're not using SSCC labels. They're using their GTINs to receive. So we made sure that all of those GTINs were mapped into Amazon's GTIN library. And then we changed the placement of the label, and you can see there that their chargebacks immediately dropped as well. So so the fines are super heavy, but more importantly too, this is going to drive your efficient receive. It's going to make sure that all of your cartons are being received and not taken off that efficient receive path and moved towards towards a problem receive station where they don't really know how to receive it. So these guys, we looked at so we made some labeling improvements, right? And our goal here was to get their chargebacks to be 0.5% or less of their shipped COGS. So these guys were operationally sound except for their labels, right? Labels made up 70% of their fines. And so we went after driving down those fines, but then once we made the corrections to their GTIN labels, they were originally printing directly on the corrugate. And I know a lot of you guys probably are doing the same thing. But it just creates a situation where the PID can't scan a label a barcode that's printed directly on the corrugate with an inkjet printer. There's not enough contrast. The ink tends to spread, makes it not scannable. And so you can see we spent a good part of the year adjusting the printers, increasing the barcode size, doing everything we possibly could with their current process and their inkjet printers. And we had some pretty good results, but it wasn't good enough. They really wanted their chargebacks to be less than 1% of shipped COGS. So we moved to white labels, and they started printing their barcodes directly on white labels, stickering those on the box, knowing that it was going to increase the labor costs. We did it anyway. And then what we found was their chargebacks dropped off immediately, but what also happened was their shortage claims were driven down. So you can kind of see here that that not only are you addressing your chargebacks and your fines, but you're also getting a 95% shortage claim reduction. And that's usually your bigger pain point, right? Like shortage claims are definitely your biggest pain point. And if fixing the labels are going to fix your shortage claims, we really recommend doing that.
It's a great example of how working on things upstream reduces that administrative burden downstream. This is one of my favorite slides as well, because it really directly shows that correlation.
Yeah.
All right. So I know we're getting close to time here. So I just have a couple more things for us to go through. Amber, you want to run us through this list? This is our attempt to say, how does this apply to you? How do our services apply to you? How do we typically help clients? And so if any of these resonate with you and you're interested in talking to us further, please let us know.
Yeah, so these are what we look for in potential partners. This is who we want to collaborate with. If you're new to Amazon and you're looking for guidance on how to get started processing POs, how to label your boxes, what that process is going to look like, it's a lot of touch points. It's a lot of data integrity, and we can get you started to set your foundations so that once you do start growing your business on Amazon, you're not going to hemorrhage those chargebacks and those shortages. Anyone that's experiencing a surge in a particular chargeback that they need help with, we love to help you doing that. If you're experiencing chargebacks in so many categories and you don't know what to do next, how do you address it? What do you go after first? Are you looking to accelerate your growth on e-commerce, but you're really worried about profitability? If you're looking to optimize products for e-commerce, packaging, pack sizes, variety packs, and you want to know how to do that, we can help you do that. If you're looking at different fulfillment options with Amazon, so you've got your POs, your replenishment POs kind of coming in through Vendor Central, but you're kind of interested in direct fulfillment, or you're wondering how to get Amazon to order in full pallet quantities. You have a lot of space in your warehouse that you might want to set up a flex node. We can help you look into all of those options. If you're transitioning to a new warehouse and you want to make sure that that warehouse understands the fulfillment process and what they need to do in order to not get those chargebacks. You're transitioning over to EDI or an API, and you're changing ordering qualifiers, we can help you do that. If you're looking for guidance on just disputing all of the deductions and understanding what all of those deductions are, we do an awful lot of that. And then, if you're just looking for extra bandwidth, you need an extra set of hands. If you need somebody to kind of get all of your stakeholders together, and so that everybody's working together efficiently and happily, and they're not pointing fingers at each other, but they're excited to solve these problems that change on a daily basis, we can definitely help you do that. I really think that that's our biggest superpower, is getting all the stakeholders in a room and excited about solving these problems, rather than feeling beaten down by Amazon's requirements, which is what it can feel like.
Yep.
So that's
all right.
That's what we look for.
That is what we look for. So I know we're at time. I'm going to run through this real quickly. I just want to thank you all for your attendance. I want to offer anyone on this call today a free Amazon supply chain assessment by one of our team members. We'll be sending out an email shortly with further details on how to do that, or you can reach out to me directly at sandy@beekeepermarketing.com.
All right, good stuff. Everyone have a great weekend. So long.
Thank you.